Welcome to Doug in Exile. Well, we played part of the Ted Cruz beatdown of Mayorkas, but I found the other half of it. I thought I'd bring it to you. If you care about people, and I do care about the people coming over our border, so does Ted Cruz. Mayorkas?
How many migrants died in 2022?
Approaching our southern border?
Yes.
No, approaching our northern border. What do you think we're talking about? He's an idiot on purpose, by the way. I think deep down inside, he knows the answer to every question he's asked. He knows he has to lie. And by lie, I mean look all doughy-eyed and go, I don't know what you're talking about.
Precisely why we are seeking to exclude the smuggling
do you know the answer? Do you know how many died?
I do not.
You do not. Of course you don't.
Why does Ted Cruz know and Mayorkas not know? Because Mayorkas knows.
I know how many died. 853.
Ted Cruz cares about 853 human beings.
That is
853. And by the way, here are the numbers that have died every year. You go back to 1998, you see it's consistently between 300 and 400, 300, 400, 300, 400. Suddenly, 2021, what happens? You get in office, and that red line are dead bodies.
Mayorkas did it.
Because of your refusal to do your job. You don't even know how many have died.
Ted Cruz is wrong here. He does know how many have died. He has to pretend like he doesn't know.
Dead on their property. What do you say to them?
I say that is why precisely we are taking it to the smuggling organizations.
But you are not. That is simply not true.
You need to be fired, or you need to quit, or you need to be impeached. People's lives are at stake. Minorities that you claim to care about, that Ted Cruz actually cares about.
This is why we...
Okay, you're going to refuse to answer that question as well. Let's move on. It's obvious you've been instructed to stonewall, so I'm not going to let you. You don't get to stonewall and filibuster. Now, one of my Democratic colleagues before said the Democrat talking point, quote, this problem didn't start under Biden. Look, I get if you're a partisan spinner, you got to figure out something to say about the absolute catastrophe that has played out under the Biden administration. True or false, Secretary Mayorkas, 2020 was the lowest rate of illegal immigration in 45 years. Is that true or false?
Ted Cruz knows he has to pin him down, so he just goes, look, true or false? He'll never get a true or false answer from Mayorkas. Here comes the spin.
It is certainly the lowest level of immigration in many, many years. And what was it in 2020? What was it, Senator, in 2020 that impacted the entire world?
He's hiding behind claiming that the plague is why the numbers are down, and Ted Cruz isn't going to fall for it.
Including the United States.
Okay, so your testimony is the reason we had the lowest rate was COVID. It had nothing to do with building the wall, nothing to do with any catch and release, nothing to do with remain in Mexico. With all respect, Mr. Secretary, that answer is laughable. And in fact, if you look at illegal immigration, let's look at CBP encounters. You can see 500,000, 500,000, it drops to the lowest level, and boom, what happens? You show up.
We'll get right back to that Ted Cruz beatdown right after a word from our sponsor. I'd like to thank Noble Gold because they help us keep the lights on. The second largest and third largest bank runs in history happened last week. The government is taking steps to guarantee all deposits. That means more money printing. Thousands have approached Noble Gold Investments to secure their wealth with gold. Gold is the most stable asset outside of government control. Hurry and go to goldinexile.com to secure your wealth and get a free 5-ounce America the Beautiful coin if you qualify. That's goldinexile.com, goldinexile.com. Look for my handsome face. There's always a risk of investment and there's no guarantee of any kind. Now back to our show.
And that red line is you. That red line is Joe Biden. And you're claiming nothing happened. Oh gosh, this was here before us. No, you made the decision to allow this to happen.
And we believe it was intentional.
You're not.
Is that your testimony, yes or no?
Senator, you're not allowing me to answer your question.
I am allowing you to answer. I'm not allowing you to filibuster.
If you take a look at the pace of immigration in 2018 to 2019.
You're refusing to answer. Let's move on. Let's move on to gotaways. Gotaways are the people that get away that you know about. Now, what happened under your administration? Gotaways consistently down at this low line. Boom, you get in.
If there was a plague, that might account for why there'd be low immigration, whatever. It doesn't explain why more people got away because of the plague. See, Ted Cruz is using logic on Mayorkas. And Mayorkas, why even bother using logic? He's not here to exchange ideas or the truth or help stop this problem or save people's lives.
And they go from below 180,000 to 600,000. Now, I'll tell you this about a gotaway. You don't know among those 600,000 a year, you have no idea how many are murderers, correct?
That is precisely why the
correct?
number of gotaways...
Do you know how many of those are murderers?
That is precisely why...
So you refuse to answer the question. You know how many are...
This is what's weird under this administration. They don't know the makeup of the people coming over our border, but they know how much underwear is in Melania Trump's underwear drawer. That's where they spent their time and attention.
This is a question. You're a lawyer. You know how to answer questions. Of the 600,000, do you know how many of them?
Ted Cruz is talking to Mayorkas as if he's not a reptile, as if he did not just shed his skin, as if he's a warm-blooded animal.
What's the result of massive gotaways? Well, one of the results is drug overdoses. And we now have, last year, over 100,000 overdoses.
He is using these facts, and Mayorkas is just this deadpan bureaucrat. Oh, I'm so sorry. We're really working on it. That's why we're taking it to them.
Now, you told Senator Cornyn you care, but look what has happened under your policy. When you open up the border to the worst illegal immigration in our nation's history, people die. You claim you care. Mr. Secretary, that is a lie. You know, some months ago, Karine Jean-Pierre stood up at a White House briefing and said, people are not just walking across the border. Was she telling the truth?
We can answer that. Yeah, KJP, another, just a massive disinformation wall, a massive wall of lies that I can't even always talk about on this channel because...
Senator, you are...
Was she telling the truth?
So profoundly disrespecting...
Was she telling the truth?
22 years
okay,
of government service.
You get to answer questions. You don't get to give speeches.
Senator, I served as a federal prosecutor.
All right, you're refusing to answer. If you look at, she was lying. And she was not lying on her own. She was lying on behalf of the President of the United States.
Everyone's just doing their job. Top down from Biden. Do your job. You must spread disinformation, then get all of social media to call your opponents disinformation.
She was lying on behalf of the President of the United States. This is a photograph from just one day along the Rio Grande of hundreds of thousands of people walking across the border. You have allowed this to happen.
And then, as if that photograph wasn't enough, now he's going to bring in hard tactical evidence of these wristbands.
What are these wristbands?
I don't know what they are.
You don't know what they are. Mr. Secretary, you have just testified to the American people you're incompetent at your job.
He doesn't know. How can he not know what these wristbands are that are found all over the ground? And Ted Cruz does know. I think Ted Cruz is actually making a great case on why he should be Attorney General under Trump. What do you guys think of that idea? Tell us in the comments below.
Because I've been to the southern border, and if you go to the southern border, along the southern border, you see thousands of these wristbands because the illegal immigrants wear them. The drug cartels, every color corresponds to how many thousands of dollars they owe the cartels. You have turned these cartels into multi-billion-dollar criminal organizations, and these are modern-day leg irons.
I like how Ted Cruz uses leg irons because it was always Biden that said they're going to put you in chains. No, actually, it's the Biden administration that puts people in leg irons.
And you don't even know what they are. That is astonishing.
Astonishing. No, it's astonishing that he lies because he has to know what they are. Has to.
Precedented degree.
Mr. Secretary, I want to say to you right now,
it is
your behavior is disgraceful, and the deaths, the children assaulted, the children, they are at your feet, and if you had integrity, you would resign. And I will tell you, the men and women of the Border Patrol, they've never had a political leader undermine them. They despise you, Mr. Secretary, because you're willing to let children...
Our Border Patrol despises Mayorkas because our Border Patrol also loves human beings.
...to follow political orders. This is a crisis, it's a disgrace, and you won't even admit this human tragedy is a crisis.
Mr. Secretary, would you like to respond to any of those questions?
What the senator said was revolting. I'm not going to address it.
Your refusal to do your job is revolting.
Mayorkas, revolting, confirmed. Thank you, Ted Cruz, for doing your job. For people that are losing hope in our system, Ted Cruz is part of the system. Look what he's doing. He's doing great. The Republic is still, it's holding on by a thread, but it's still there.